enough's enough. This thing needs to start looking like a car, and I have delayed this build way too long. Today, we do a snag list. I know I do snag lists all the time, and this probably won't even be the last one. It probably won't even be the last one for this episode. Right, that's a starter for 10. Nice and simple, but I'm trying to be cohesive because we've actually got a finite amount of time in this episode and I want to get as much done with a tangible result at the end. That result's going to be fuck the shell for the last time. So first up, we finished off in the cage. I'm going to add some gussets in the back just so the roll hoop's tied in, complete, and I don't need to think about it again. Then we need to add front cage points. Now I'm going to start this where the car's upside down because when I flip it I might have more welding to do. And we'll get to why I'm talking about front cage points. Then we need to hunt out missed welds. Don't forget, I actually have buggered with the handbrake setup, I've done a few other things. I'm going to go front to back in the car and make sure while it's upside down, any welds that I've not completed, i.e. welded all the way around the tube, they've all been caught. Then, keep Tibor Mackay happy. I'll get to that. Last of all, once all that's done, flip car for the last time. Top of the list, cage gussets. So what do I mean by this? Well, at the moment, as you can see, we've got the bottom all welded in, we've got the top nice and sort of welded here, but this is all kind of flimsy. Now you'll notice at the bottom, when we flip the car, we'll have welding to do here. That's fine, but this is just paper thin, and all of the stress points going to be on here. So what I want to do is, well, the key to fucking strength, as ever, triangulate. But the problem is triangulating this is going to be tricky because this is technically the lowest point of the car. Now I could triangulate up here and I might still do that when the car's flipped. But what I want to do, considering this is just going to be wasted space, is just bang in a big length of 6mm right down the centre of where these bolts lie and just put some strength from here to here. Granted, this is still going to turn this more or less into an entire stress point rather than just this weld here. But it's belt and braces. I will clearly add gussets up the top, but this makes the top and the bottom a bit more structural. So that's going to be the first thing. Okay, that's been a good starter for 10. Now we need to talk about these low-cost front cage mounts. Now, this is as off-book as you can get. Bear in mind that this is near enough impossible to demonstrate because the car is upside down. The most obvious place for me to put a cage mount would be here, because it is an area of strong triangulation and pretty much the middle of the car. So if I was to go from here and then round, that would be a smart cage. However, it would also be a bloody long cage. The distance from the hoop at the back to the front tie-in would actually be quite a big crescent. And I don't know if it's going to add a lot of strength. So plan B, you'd need to think fourth dimensionally. Now, that's the scuttle panel. Remember, the bonnet will go to here. And from here to here is that big sort of extra scuttle. Well, that guy. And that takes us to there. Now, interesting point. That sort of frames the whole car, because that section there is what you would consider to be, well, the front door. And now, granted, your legs protrude way further down than that, but if I was to tie the cage into here, I've still got access in and out of the car. It's not like I could access any further forward, because there's a scuttle there. I have ordered more cage plates, as you can see, best 12 quid I've ever spent. If I was to put a tie in there, you can see my obvious problem. Yes, it's very strong and tough, but How am I getting bolts through? Plan B would be to stick it there. But wait. Ew. I need to pick a side.
Winter's here and you are cold. No other bird would be so bold. No other bird would be so bold. Fly.
Oh, welding is not a summer sport. Okay, what is a Tabor Mackay? That's a good question. So for months now, we have had updates, welding, chassis, progress, call it what you will. But there has been one thing that's been omitted. And I've clearly not been able to forget this, even if I have forgotten it, because on every single episode, this commenter, Tabor, has been pointing out that the bar that runs from here down to here to triangulate the front end is missing. Yes, I know. I'm going to put it in now. It's been on the to-do list for quite a while, but there's been a reason I've kind of omitted it. One, I've had other things to make sure that I can fit and that it doesn't foul and therefore doesn't need to be chopped out and made in some zigzag fashion. And two, yeah right, I forgot. And here's the reason why. As you can see, I'm going to triangulate it from the top part, which is the bottom part, because the car's upside down, of the suspension geometry pickup point here. So nice wee notch cut, 90-degree angle, and it's going to go from here all the way up to here. So all we're going to do is cut a little notch into the pedal plate that'll accommodate that. And bearing in mind there's already a notch cut in it anyway, more surgery to that's not going to be a big problem. The reason why I can say categorically that I've forgotten about this is because if you do the same technique on the passenger side, from here, and then go all the way along and up. Ah, shit. Because that is riveted and bonded in. AKA, I fucking forgot it. But before I go dealing with my own stupidity, I need to work out what I'm actually putting in here. And it's been that long since I even looked at this. I think I was going to actually put tubular steel as opposed to square section in. So, right, let's measure up and work this out. One of two things is going on here. Either I've not got enough space, or I'm becoming a really messy bastard. and I think it might be the latter. Where we're at, I've just come in this morning and seen the woods for the trees here, and there's a lot of bloody woods. The problem is, right, lots of stuff goes on out there, as you can see, and this is a cupboard. This is like, well, I'm not working in Locost today, so I'll just put stuff here. This isn't good enough, man. So I'm going to get on top of this again, and I'm going to flip this, and then I need to get rid of a lot of things in here. Like, I'm using it as a dumping ground because it's convenient, but it's really impeding building this Locost. I think it's probably one of the biggest reasons why I keep walking away from this for weeks on end, because I can't get moving. On this rack, there are bits for many things that I don't ever need for a Locost. Now obviously I'm going to have Super bits, and obviously I'm going to have MX5 bits, but like there's Subaru bits there. I don't...
How does it feel to treat me like you do? When you laid your hands upon me and tell me who you are, I thought I was mistaken. I thought
So we're going to take a short intermission to explain a slight change in low-cost content. As you'll probably have noticed from here, we now have some audio improvements. That has come from the Patreon money, like I did say. That will be going into low-cost stuff and improving low-cost content. So we are now mic'd up. You can see me and hear me from a distance.
Should be able to hear me as well.
Right, let's do some more welding to finish this off. And I think we need to bring the funk back. What are you going to remind me about next? I jest. I do appreciate the heads up, and all of the comments that we get on the Locost keep me right and stop me being a muppet. Keep them coming, because clearly I am out of my depth. Anyway, that's that to-do list done. I did say we'd probably get 2 in this episode. Shall we start another? I mean, to be honest, saying that that was paint is probably kind of taking a bit of a stretch. What I still need to do here is finish paint, i.e. get all the chassis black on the bits that I put primer on. But for the moment, primer will do. That is, it's going to keep the rust off until the next episode. Now yes, we're wrapping up a bit early here, but what I'm going to actually do here is write the real list. Way too much to get into in this episode, but let's give you a sneak preview as to what we've still got to do. And what we still need to do is finish it. Anything that I'm doing from this point forward is really just going to be putting this car together ready for its drive. So, a bit of an exciting point to have reached. I can't see much more in the chassis that we need to deal with, but there are still a couple of wee bits. Now we're focusing here because I still need to put some form of gusseting in on these bottom touch points. Now that needs to be done before we put the skins on. Excitement, skins will be actually the first thing we do in the next episode, but I'm still kind of daydreaming as to how I'm going to put strength here. The obvious thing isn't necessarily the way I'm going to do it. After all, it needs to look neat. It's also going to be near where my legs are, so I don't want it to be a laceration hazard if we have a side-on impact. Needs a bit of thought. I'm going to have to go and have a wee think about it. What other things do we need to do? Well, as I've said, the assembly is going to be the next thing, but as you've probably noticed, I keep making mistakes and then have to undo them every time I get to that point. So I need to put a bit of thought into how we're going to do this assembly, i.e. write an instruction manual. Now the side panels, as I've said, will be the next big things to go on, because everything else I need to put on this car has to build around about them, so it'll be final fit for these guys at the start of the next episode. We also need to start looking at the rest of the stuff that the side panels need to be on for, namely these. The bulky, annoying, and constantly in the way arms. Now they need to go back on, but remember we have issues with wheel bearings. We also have issues with a lot of other things that associate to these arms. Driveline related, I'll grant. Things like drive shafts. I don't like the CV joints, they've never looked really good since they came out of the MX-5. Wheel bearings, remember they were toast. I've got a line on that, so we'll deal with those before they go on the next episode. And really, it's going to be a first fit for a lot of this stuff. I'm definitely not going to be gunning up the Nylox because, as I've learned, there's probably going to be things I've missed. So yes, we're going to be targeting the side panels and getting this car back on its feet again. Another thing you may have noticed, I've managed to lose the wheels. Now I did buy those 14s with the explicit idea they were going to go on the low cost, but then I subsequently scrapped another MX-5 and needed to use them to roll the car out. I do have an idea for a temporary solution, but yeah, I'm still at a stage where I don't know what wheels to use, so we'll cover that though, I promise. And we made enough out of the red MX-5 for me to actually just go out and get wheels without it impacting anything else, but I really want to be buying them for the last time, so let's do it right. And as we move around the workshop, you'll notice the other big elephant in the room. This clamshell I have completely abandoned and not really put much thought into, but when the side panels are on, I need to find a way to final fit this and make sure that it actually looks good, because right now it really doesn't. It's going to be probably not done in the next episode, but we're going to start looking at this. And lastly, we have the support for said thing, the engine, which really hasn't had a look in the whole time I've done this. Now, realistically, it doesn't need a look in. The engine in the box we did establish were totally fine. We've done all the mods needed and it will fire up and run, but well, just look at it. It's absolutely disgusting. So again, this is going to be back on the to-do list, if only to make it look neat. Remember, I don't want to deviate from this too much for the IVA, so it has to be intact in a 1.8 VVT lump. However, It doesn't necessarily need to be this one, does it? But we'll get to all of that nonsense and all of this nonsense in the next episode. Until then, Patreons running up the side of the screen, thank you very much for your support. As you can see, it does go on to good things, and hopefully by the end of the year, a lot more better things. If you just joined the channel, bell, subscribe, like, all that jazz, because we grow. And until next weekend, guys, drive safe.